Time now for First Alert Weather with meteorologist Rob Nucatola.
All right, let's get started on our Wednesday with top temperatures today. Expected to get all the way into the middle 80s, kind of like they did yesterday, maybe just a smidge warmer. A lot of us are starting near 60 this morning. We're going to do that again tomorrow morning too. So we are taking this little step towards warmer, and I think that's going to continue for the remainder of the work week. Some clouds spilling into the skies. They'll also play a little bit of a role, especially in the overnights the next couple of nights, but maybe those clouds can help us slow down some of that heat just a little tiny bit in the afternoons. I don't see anything organized making its way into our part of the southeast. It's going to have some higher pressure that's going to hang on across parts of the Atlantic and across parts of the Gulf. As long as that does its thing, it's going to make it hard for any kind of new energy to get down here. We'll watch and we'll see how all that evolves over the next couple of days. Let's get started at 61 degrees for Tallahassee and for Thomasville. We're at 62 in Valdosta, so a little bit on the warm side, a little bit on the muggy side. Those dew point numbers climbing through the 50s, and I do think we'll be on the lookout for some patchy fog. Haven't seen much yet this morning, but even later this morning and the next couple of mornings, we could start to find some areas with some patchy fog. Bainbridge and Perry are at 64. It's now 62 at Camilla, matching that 62 in Valdosta. Live Oak hanging on a 57. Not breezy or anything. Today, if there is a breeze, it'll be more from the southeast and south, bringing in some of that warmer and more humid air, and all that contributes to the threat for some patchy fog over the next couple of mornings. And I do think we're going to start to see some visibilities that do get reduced a little bit, but so far so good this morning. Now, that next energy that's way off to our north and west, it's way up there, and that's where it's going to stay. And I think over the next 2 or 3 days, while the boundary tries to move east, it runs into that wall of higher pressure and just has a tough time advancing. Now, the main area of low pressure is up over the Great Lakes states. It stays there. Warmer air works its way all the way up the east coast of the United States, and we kind of sit and bask in that. A little bit warmer, a little bit more humid. We'll go with high and dry as our main weather feature, and I think that sticks around for the next couple of days. Yeah, we'll have a few more clouds sort of spilling in, and we are going to increase the humidity just a little tiny bit. But as far as rain chances go, I think it's going to be hard to find any real opportunity to get wet, maybe not until the end of the weekend at the earliest, and even then, I think our chances are really, really small. On the Gulf today, winds will be out of the southeast first, then south later, 5 to 15 knots, seas 1 to 3 feet. We'll put a light chop in the protected waters. Going to be some pretty good boating conditions with those calmer winds, but it's just going to be getting warm, and don't forget, we're at that point now where the UV index real high, so it doesn't take but 25 or 30 minutes for unprotected skin to burn. 50s and 60s this morning. We'll call it partly cloudy. Sunrise time 7:07. We're starting to get closer and closer to seeing that sun come up before 7 a.m. This afternoon, we're likely going to get to the middle 80s. I wouldn't be shocked at all if a couple of spots get to 86 or 87 today, and I think over the next couple of days, those numbers are going to try to creep up a little bit higher. We'll call it partly cloudy, definitely warm, and even just a smidge more humid. For tonight, more patchy fog likely, more partly cloudy, and more numbers that start with the 6. Sunset time, by the way, after 8 o'clock, it's at 8:07 p.m. And here's the 7-day forecast, where not a lot of things jump off the page, but you do notice those temperatures getting a bit toasty. I mean, it's still April. It's still only the middle of April. And we're watching high temperatures that want to continue to inch their way up to the very end of the 80s. Morning temperatures that each day want to start in the 60s in more and more spots. Now, if we're going to find any real opportunity to get wet, it feels like that might come by Monday, but it's still an if, a maybe, and a but. So at this point, I don't love the rain chances anytime soon. I do think things get a little warmer and more humid for the next several days. And then as we get into the early part of next week, maybe we can cool things back down to more seasonable levels.